A very good day to Dr. Hari. We are from Group 2. Today we will be presenting about a journal article that we have read about activity-based costing or ABC. We will begin this presentation with a video on the introduction of our group members. So the journal that we have chosen is the implementation of an activity-based costing system in a manufacturing company. So this will be our flow of presentation. After the introduction of group members, we will start our presentation with the abstract of journal followed by the introduction to the journal. And then we will explain on the ABC methodology. And then we'll be explaining about what the company does. After that, we will explain about the implementation of the ABC methodology in the company, in which there are two phases involved in the implementation of an activity-based costing system in the company, in which the first phase is the allocation of resources to activities, and the second phase is the allocation of activities to products and the definition of industrial costs. After that, we will be discussing on the results of the implementation of ABC methodology in the company. And lastly, we will be presenting on the conclusion to this journal. So now I'll be presenting on the abstract or the overview of the journal. So nowadays, companies around the globe, particularly manufacturing company, is facing a serious problem, which is the increasing competition at a global level, mainly due to the advance in technology. So in order to survive in such strong competition that they are facing, they have to find ways to increase their profits in both the short term and the long term. So companies like the manufacturing companies usually pressure themselves trying to increase their productivity and lower their production costs. This is to increase their profit. However, the need to lower production costs has caused an increasing demand for an accurate costing information. Thus, a method in estimating the cost of the product produced by an entity in an accurate and precise manner is needed in order to obtain useful and relevant information. This is because such information are needed by the management of an entity to make necessary decisions and important decisions on how they are going to manage the entity's resources and activities effectively. Therefore, to address these issues, activity-based costing system, or what is commonly referred to as ABC, has been proposed and used widely in the industrial area, as it is capable of providing information which is highly detailed, useful, and relevant. Hence, the journal reports the results obtained with the implementation of an activity-based costing system in a Portuguese coffee production company that fits with the organization's operation and reflects the way how it operates on a day-to-day basis in an accurate and reliable way, providing useful and relevant information.
Over the last decades, the business environment is undergoing enormous changes. This is mainly due to the development of new technologies which related to automation and information system. The new technologies bring significant reformation to the organization and eventually affects all the departments and their area of intervention. This has increased the global competitiveness of the company, as the companies now no longer compete locally, but they have to compete with the companies from the other world. These changes force this company to implement more sophisticated costing system. In order to carry out decision-making process, management team of an organization would need to refer to a reliable information regarding to the industrial cost and their profitability. as customer satisfaction is a key prerequisite for the viability of the companies and organization. Companies had to obtain rigorous and accurate costing system to increase the productivity at a reduced price to meet the customer's expectation. Activity-based costing method has been seen as a significant tool to achieve a more efficient and effective costing system, since it identifies and analyzes the production activities that lead to the product cost. Besides, it also more appropriate to the reality of each organization. Furthermore, activity-based costing system can prevent misallocation of the indirect fixed costs, which occur in some traditional costing systems. With all of this reliable information, companies can effectively prevent misallocated management decisions. In this study, we are going to describe the implementation and result obtained with the activity-based costing system in the Portuguese coffee production company that fits with the organization reality and reflects the way how it operates on a daily basis. Moreover, this study also been done in an accurate and reliable way in order to provide useful and relevant information for the decision-making process. The activity-based costing methodology was developed by Cooper and Kaplan to solve the problem of the increasing share that indirect fixed costs have on the product cost structure. Activity-based costing system estimates the cost of resource used in a given process. In this system, it is assumed that resources are consumed by the activities needed to produce the product or services. The first phase of this system allocates resources to the activities, while in the second phase, the activities are allocated to the product. Cooper and Kaplan argue that two reporting systems should coexist within a company. The traditional costing system that periodically provide information about the cost of the activities of the company in each period, and the activity-based costing system, which provide information about the quantity and estimate the cost of the activities effectively used in a given period. In a nutshell, activity-based costing method measures the cost and performance of activities and cost objects. To do so, it is based on three basic premises, which is product requires activities, activities consume resources, and resources cost money. Resources are associated with activities through resource drivers, and in turn, activities are indicated to cost objects through activity drivers. Besides, activity-based costing method is allowed to analyze the causes of the costs associated with the activities and measure their performance. This method will also be an added value from the view of management team.
The company that we select to study is a Portuguese-based company. The company is mainly focused on producing roasted coffee, and however, they finally come out with a new decision to produce a new product, which is capture coffee to enhance their company quality. So, what is capture coffee? So basically, coffee captures are the plastic container with an aluminum foil seals with ground coffee inside. Coffee capture is what we know moist widely and is used for many products, not just for ground coffee. So clearly we know that it is a very great business opportunity. So in this study, we will concentrate on all aspects of this new sector of activity in the company, including acquisitions of new industrial equipment, manufacturing processes and methods, raw materials and subsidiaries products, contracted service and direct labor. Moving on to the next slide, we will talk about the business activity in the company. This company divided their business sector into two, which is not only focused on the production and marketing of roasted coffee, but also the marketing of alcoholic beverages. The alcoholic beverages are wines, beer, and many more alcoholic beverages. To mention that the capsule coffee only occupy a small part of the coffee-based products produced in the company industrial facilities. The production of coffee is not the only activity developed by the company. Therefore, there are resources that are shared not only between in the same area but also between the different business units. So now we will talk about the commercial ways that the company used to promote their product. So before this, I would like to let you know that what is commercialization. So commercialization is the process of bringing new product and service to the market. The broader acts of commercialization involves product, distribution, marketing, sales, customer support, and other key functions critical to achieving the commercial success of the new product or the new service. The company commercial their products in a few ways. They utilize national and foreign market to bring their product to conquer a larger market. So, in national market, they apply the HORECA marketing. HORECA stands for hotel, restaurant, and cafe. This marketing is a very simple marketing that could bring their product go through the nations. They eventually make a promotion about their products through the hotels, restaurant, and cafe in the nations. Hence, it is a very efficient method to boost the market for their product around the country. Next, modern distribution is also applied in their national marketing. Distributors that successfully create a complex supply network to satisfy their customer and optimize their profits are known as modern distributors. Modern distributors have unique characteristics that set them apart from more traditional distribution companies. For example, recruitment of agents for the product. The example company using the modern distribution is Amway or Coway company. For foreign market, they choose distributor to distribute their products to a larger market globally. Through distributor, the company can easily approach the clients that they could not easily reach. Moreover, the distributor can act as the representative of the coffee company as well. For example, the distributor from other country can be a franchise for the company in another country to bring out their products to another country. So this table shows a set of activities that are known as the main activities by their importance and influence in the production process of the capsule coffee productions. From this activity, we can see a linear relationship with the products. The linearity will eventually affect the level of cost, qualitative levels, and the intrinsic constitution of the final products. So why linear relationship is so important in a production line? This is because linear relationship clearly show how the production component works to increase the productivity in order to make some improvements. In case if there are any improvement needed, the management will immediately know which parts must be improved or selected to produce the most productive product. All coffee products produced in the company are linked between MA1 to MA5. There is complementary activities in Table 2 as the activities that lead to the obtaining of products whose base constitutions in their combination is coffee and constitute all the activities of the industrial unit of this company. That's why the productions share the similar resources level of facilities, equipment and labor in between MA1 to MA5. According to Table 3, we can see that secondary activity plays some roles to make an influence in the production process. The activity involves purchasing, receiving materials, maintenance and management and quality control as well. Finally, to the Table 4, and it is the last table for the production process. So, Table 4 shows the external activity that will eventually make a development for the coffee capture as well as the entire process of requesting and maintaining industrial property, which involves and continue to resort to entities outside the organizations.
Implementation of the ABC methodology in the company is divided into two phases. I will present about the first phase, which is the allocation of resource to activities. In the first phase, the work began with the identification of the main, secondary, and also the external activities that involve in the production of coffee capsules. Then, we need to identify the resource that consumed in each activities. After identification, we found that there are 6 resources, which are industrial building, labor, industrial equipment, external activity, external industrial equipment, and also bill of materials. However, bill of material will not be discussed in the first phase. Then, there are costs associated with the resource, and the resource must be allocated to the activities. So, the question arises here is how to allocate the resource to activities. To properly allocate the resource to each activities, we need to identify the resource driver of each resource. We move to the first resource, which is the industrial building. The costs associated to industrial building are rental of building, electrical energy consumed, insurance, water, and maintenance. Rental of building and water consumption are verified in the industrial building, and they will be allocated to each activities based on the area occupied by each activities. Then, the electrical energy consumed. The energy is consumed by the installation in the industrial building, such as the lighting and also the common infrastructure such as the elevators. This cost will be treated as the overall maintenance of the industrial building. Then, for the insurance, the company actually has several of insurance policies. However, the insurance will be allocated to their insured project. So for the industrial building, the environmental insurance is affected by the industrial building because the industrial building generates some environmental risks such as the gas emission and also the waste generation. So it is clear that the insurance is also one of the costs associated with the industrial building. After identifying the costs associated to the industrial building, we need to allocate these costs to the activities. The allocation of the costs associated with this resource is based on the resource driver, which is the area occupied by each activities. Then we move to the second resource, which is labor. The second resource with the labor take into account of the taxes, social securities, subsidies, and also the actual working times. The cost associated with the labor will be allocated to each activities based on the time the labor spent on each activities. Hence, the resource driver of the labor is time spent on each activities. Then, for the industrial equipment, the costs associated are depreciation, repair, maintenance, and also energy consumed. For the depreciation, it is made based on the legal requirement and also the expectation of the useful life of the equipment. From this value, we can identify the hourly cost of using the equipment. So, the resource driver of the industrial equipment is the time spent on each activities, which means that the cost associated with industrial equipment will be allocated to the activities based on the time the equipment is spent on each activity. Then we now discuss about the last two resources, which are the external activities and also the external industrial equipment. In fact, the production of the coffee capsules also includes some activities that develop outside, such as through outsourcing. So the activities that carry outside are classified into two groups, which is external activities and also the external industrial equipment. It is clear that these resources are only used for the production of coffee capsules, and they do not absorb internal costs. So for the external activity, it is about the activity of research and development, as well as the activity of requisition and maintenance of the industrial property. Then for the last resource, which is external industrial equipment, the industrial mode is found on the premise of the supplier of empty capsules. These costs can be easily identified, and they will be allocated to the capsule specific activities, which are from main activity of 7 to 12. Then we can find that the resource driver of these two resources are the same, which is based on the value of the resource. So in a conclusion, we can say that there are costs associated with the resource, and in order to allocate the resource to the activities, we need to identify the resource driver. So we need to allocate the resource to activities because the activities use the resource to carry out their own activity. Thank you.
As discussed earlier, we are clear that the money cost is actually allocated to the activities through the use of resource driver. This means that there may be more than one activity cost pool just based on their respective resources used. As for example, from our case study, all resources related or involved in the final packaging processes, which is one of the capsule-specific activity, is being considered as one cost pool. In total, there are 20 activity cost pool within 3 activities involved in the coffee capsule production, which are main, secondary, and capsule-specific activities. Main activities ranging from 1 to 6, which are green coffee reception, green coffee storage, densimetric treatment, blending, roasting, and grinding is used for all coffee products, while the other 6 main activities, which are degazing, packaging, semi-finished packaging, unit seal packaging, final packaging, and expedition, will be used specifically for the coffee capsule. On the other hand, the secondary activities, which will also interfere the production process, are shared between all coffee products produced in the company. Hence, the respective main and secondary activities that are used for all coffee products will be allocated to each product according to their percentage of use respectively. For those activities that is like specific for the coffee capsule, it will be allocated to only the coffee capsule product. In this way, it is much more easier for the company to identify like which resources are being used in the coffee capsule specifically. Now, we can start with the second phase of the implementation of ABC costing, which is activity-based costing. Second phase is actually about the allocation of activities to products. It will allocate the cost accumulated on the activities cost pool to respective products by using activities driver. In our case, the activity drivers involve produce roasted coffee with kilogram in units and produce coffee capsules which are being measured in units. To properly allocate the cost to the products, the company must first identify the activities that are required to complete or to create a product. Each activity has their own cost pool, which includes the respective individual costs, which are already being presented by my member previously in the first phase. Then, the total overhead of each cost pool will be assigned to the cost drivers, which are also known as an activity driver that directly and linearly reflect their consumption. After the allocation of industrial product, the industrial costs or also a manufacturing cost of the product is finalized with the introduction of the value associated with the bill of materials of the products concerned. Bill of materials is actually a comprehensive list of parts, items, assemblies, and other materials required to complete or to create a product. It is not only like involving direct material but also indirect material, for example, raw material and material handling. In our case, the materials involve the raw material and aluminum foil, empty capsule, cardboard box, and others. It did not allocate to activity cost but directly to the final industrial cost due to the fact that the relationship between the material and the product are linear. At last, we can now compute the industrial cost by summing up the cost of direct materials, direct labor, and also overhead costs. Thank you.
I will now continue on the results on the implementation of the activity-based costing system in the Portuguese coffee production company. So the first result that can be obtained from the implementation is the main activity distribution. The work carried out allowed the analysis of the distribution of general manufacturing expenses by the different main activities. This makes it possible to reflect about the relevance of each activity in the cost structure of the final product, or in other words, it reflects the cost incurred by a product in each main activity the product had experienced in the production process. Based on the pie chart given, among the highest share of the distribution is MA8, packaging or encapsulation of 23.8%, and MA9, semi-finished packaging, which is 18.5%. This means that in the final cost of product, 23.8% of the final cost comes from the activity of MA8 and 18.5% of the final cost come from MA9. So this means that these two activities incur more costs as compared to other main activities. The next result that can be obtained from the implementation of ABC methodology in the company is the global coffee capsule cost distribution. So the work done also allowed to obtain the industrial costing of coffee capsules in different variants. As each activity involved in the production of coffee capsules has been analyzed in detail, and a large amount of relevant information has been obtained for the various cost components of the cost of coffee capsules. From the pie chart, we can observe the contribution of various activities involved in the production of capsules for the final cost of the product. As regards the bill of materials, which is one of the resources, we can individually identify the cost with the raw materials, packaging materials, and empty capsule. Therefore, from the pie chart, it can be seen that the largest cost component for the coffee capsule are green coffee, which is 28.9%, empty capsule, which is 28.7%, and packaging materials, which is 24.8%. So lastly, we can also obtain the packaging material distribution through the implementation of ABC methodology in the company. Relevant information about the distribution of packaging material was obtained either by the weight they represent versus the overall cost. Within this group, the relevance of the cost associated with the empty capsule represents more than 50% of the total cost of the packaging material. So this implies that more than half of the cost incurred in the packaging materials come from the empty capsule. Moving on to the last part of this presentation is the conclusion. In conclusion, there are two phases involved in the implementation of an activity-based costing system in a company, in which the first phase is the allocation of resources to activities, and the second phase is the allocation of activities to products. After the implementation of an activity-based costing system, it is sure that a company can allocate costs more accurately to its product, as its costs are estimated more reliably and more accurately. Through the implementation of activity-based costing system 2, we can also obtain more detailed, useful, and relevant information that is needed by the management to make important decisions. Decisions are like the definition of costs and the sales price of products, the identification of processes whereby greater efforts is needed to improve the process or to adapt them to the new business environment, or the restructuring of some areas of the industrial unit. These decisions all requires information that is relevant and useful before the management of an entity can make decisions on these matters. So in an activity-based costing system 2, cost allocation are made specifically to each activity based on the resources consumed and are further allocated to products. Thus, detailed and specific information can be obtained, which allowed a broad analysis of the various components of the cost of the product. Lastly, as the Portuguese coffee production company produces several products simultaneously, in which it also produces other coffee-based products other than the coffee capsule focused on this case study or journal, these products share a wide range of resources, for example, resources consumed in the main activity 1 to main activity 5. So activity-based costing system is very important to this company. This is because the activity-based costing system allows allocation of resources to the several products produced by this company in a more accurate manner and more effectively as compared to other costing methods such as the traditional costing methods. Therefore, the implementation of an activity-based costing system in this company allows company to obtain a wide range of information with high detail, relevance, and usefulness, which indicates that this is a costing system that adapts the needs of this company. So our presentation has come to an end. Thank you so much.